All right, welcome back, traders. We're a little like a minute off here from the weekly candle close. Figured I'd start the stream just a little bit early here. I think we're starting to see some price action come in here. When the futures market opened around 6 o'clock tonight, we got a nice push up off the range lows, and we're getting this weekly rejection right now. That's great. On Tether, this was really my concern. It still is my concern. We can still see that this momentum is ticked up here on the weekly. But you can see here on our 2-day, we just closed. So the 2-day here is telling us some good things, right? We got a little bit of bearish divergence here. That's coming in here on Tether. That should bring Tether back down. We can see our 2-day was long here. It still remains long. This was a break, and if this is the back test of this break, then we don't really want to see this hold as support. What we really want to see actually is maybe we get some sort of bounce and a back test at this level as resistance to bring this further down. Okay, that's what we really want to see, obviously. But high time frame, monthly candle closes here. Coming in this week, I think it's a big close. We got monthly and quarterly candles closing. This is a big price action week for probably all markets, not just the crypto market. But the crypto market, obviously, we're paying attention to pretty closely because it's been kind of like a cliffhanger for these altcoins and stuff like that. So I think that's something to pay attention to. You could see that right now we're back testing this long-term non-long trend line that has been was acting as a major support throughout this entire bull market. And if this ends up in the next couple of days here getting rejected, I think that's when we see fireworks and we get at least down to the range low, or maybe I would think that we would actually end up breaking it. And that's where we get this crazy alt run that everyone is kind of hoping we see and get. But just keeping it simple, I think what we really just need to really target is the bottom of the range, right? Because the bottom of the range has just been impossible so far for this to really break. So I think just targeting the bottom of the range here to de-risk assets, I think that should be sufficient. All right. Like, as you can see here, we didn't even get like a counter trend long on this push up. So this was a tricky pullback that got kind of pulled in here. So that means that it's probably going to be hopefully we get a reversal here. Like, that's the whole thing, right? So that's kind of what I'm paying attention to here. Our wave trend is still, looks kind of bullish for Tether on the like the weekly here, and the monthly time frame. The monthly time frame is still pointing down. We don't have any clipping going on just yet, but if that weekly starts to pick up momentum, then we would get kind of like some bullish divergence on the wave trend. Okay, and yeah, we can see that we got an early kind of buy signal here, an early buy signal on the monthly chart. Now this is the Tether chart, so like I would kind of take it with a bit of a grain of salt, but your monthly momentum here is still ticking down. But like you are, if this does tick up on by midweek here, by the monthly candle close, and that ticks up, that would not be a good thing to see. Okay, you don't want to see that. That's not good. Yeah. The 2-month here is oversold, still kind of ticked down here as well. This to me really just seems like we might have like a few months of upside if this continues down here on those higher time frames. This again is what I'm worried about. You see the 2-week here, that is some bullish divergence here on their 2-week stochastic RSI. This is telling you some trouble might be ahead. Okay. Yeah, but the shorter term time frames, like the daily here, looks like this is going to pull back a bit. And that's gonna give some relief to these assets here, I think. And yeah, we just need to be paying attention here these next couple days, couple weeks, of what this is really going to really do. It can look extremely bullish on those time frames, but we can get rejections because this thing is still in a downtrend. It's not making new highs or something here. Okay, but I'm just watching because it is starting to make higher lows. Okay, and usually when you start to make higher lows, then you eventually start to make higher highs, right? So that's like where it gets a little dicey with some of these assets. We got to really be kind of on top of that, paying attention to it, right? So I think shorter term here, we got like a 12-hour rejection at the top of this range, and this is clear, counter trend short coming in. We clipped on the 12-hour chart as well. That's giving us this nice bounce in this market, and the 12-hour bearish divergence on the RSI. So looks good short term here. I think we're going to get a strong monthly and quarterly close based off this. This can take some days to materialize, and we're probably gonna see some upside momentum come into the market here. Okay, that's what this looks like. Cool. Let's look at Bitcoin. I mean, obviously, Bitcoin's gonna be looking decent here after Tether got rejected right there. We got what looks to be a nice range low double bottom coming in. We got some clipping happening on the 12-hour, right? Clipping short on Tether, clipping long on Bitcoin, clipping long on probably lots of other assets that are associated. The daily here giving us that cross. We're about to get a cross up here on the daily, and the 2-day time frame here is still coming down a bit. So we need this daily to really push up. So this 2-day crosses back up. The weekly is what I'm really looking at here. So we ended up getting a fake out signal there, and we got this push up, got rejected, and kind of coming down. The price is sorry about that. Yeah, okay. So yeah, the weekly momentum here isn't really showing us anything conducive right this moment. It's in the oversold territory. All right, but if we get this daily and 2-day to start to pick up momentum, this weekly will then flip back up, and that's kind of what we want to see. The 2-week is also kind of ticking down. You can see that. Like the high time frames here don't look the best. The monthly is about to maybe cross down. This can all change if these next few days here, we really get some positive price action into the quarterly close. You can see the quarterly stochastics are already like up here, man. Like this is like the dangerous part of what I'm talking about. Okay, like last time we were at a quarterly stochastic RSI up here was pretty much the top of the market. January of 2018. That was the 2017 run that we had on Bitcoin. All right, so we're up there. We're up there. We might have a little bit more room if this thing can hang tight. All right, but you can see we haven't crossed down. We're gonna get the quarterly close here this week, and this should give us an indication as to what's really to come here these next couple months. All right. On the other hand, if we look at ETH on the quarterly chart, it's a completely different chart. All right. ETH on the quarterly time frame is at the bottom. All right. So it's telling you that ETH might really just take the show. And that's what we want to see if we want an altcoin season, right? And so this to me looks low risk on a quarterly time frame. Like hedge funds, fund managers, institutions, they all see this stuff. This isn't like, this is what they're looking at. They're looking at high time frame stuff. Okay. Right. That's exactly right. Toe. So this is very clear to me. This is quarterly bullish divergence on your stochastic RSI. This is not anything to ignore. That's a major signal. That's a major signal. Okay. This takes months to materialize. It's not just going to happen overnight. We need Bitcoin to not just crash. We need Bitcoin to just whatever, hold the line, hold the range, go sideways, make that momentum come down while the price just consolidates. That's how the catch-up trade would really work out well here, right? And so that's kind of what this chart is telling me, right? We already saw the ETH Bitcoin, make a nice pump, right? In April, we called the range low. Beautiful doji reversal candle here in April off the quarterly close. And even right now, this candle is a bullish engulfing candle. It is engulfing this candle right here, right now. If ETH can sustain its price action against Bitcoin, which I think it will. We're going to look at Bitcoin dominance chart, and you can see that we are above this range right now on the quarterly time. We have 2 days left on the candle close here. So to me, that would actually be a very strong close for the ETH Bitcoin ratio. And, just simply put, it looks like we can go back up to test the top of the range, which is 8%. That's like conservative, I think, conservative ratio target here. That would just make the most sense. This was a blowout move up here. I'm kind of ignoring that. This, to me, there was a lot of touch points up here. This looks real, right? So if I was to be trading this ratio, you got an entry here at whatever 0.018, let's call it, and you got up to 8%. You almost 4x your Bitcoin position. That's excellent. That is a great trade to accumulate Bitcoin. And so I think a lot of folks are doing that. Here, look at the quarterly. The quarterly stochastics on ETH Bitcoin ratio is still at the bottom. Okay. I think that this thing has some real firepower. Like, really. Like, if this thing is just starting this move like this and the quarterly stochastics are still oversold like that, it's very possible. And I'm going to give the Moon Boy scenario target here just because we can. Because this momentum could really blow out, right? But this is really a macro double bottom, which is what it looks like to me. It probably does something like this, okay? It can potentially do something like this, okay? And it could be something like about a 15 or 20% on the ratio. It could do that, okay? That would be pretty astronomical and extremely bullish for Ethereum. Something like this, okay? Just throwing it out there. Those quarterly stochastics are pretty powerful things to look at. Okay, high time frame. Cool. S&P, I think, is opened up here, 0.15%. I might be a little delayed. Dollar index, take a look at that. Okay, we have a quarterly short signal that's still active. So I really think that this is going to end up breaking down longer term here. We're still in the rising wedge structure. I think we eventually break down, especially if there's more rate cuts to come, or even if there isn't more rate cuts to come. This is still telling me that this has more downside, right? The RSI is sitting here at basically, neutral to maybe, like neutral ish, but pointing straight down like that. And you're about to print your first quarterly short signal ever on the chart that this thing actually could pick up. That's very interesting. So yeah, I think we're about to see some crazy blow off top type stuff coming in here once this actually breaks the trend like that. I don't really see how the dollar is going to hold up very well in an environment like this. Okay. So that's basically it. I would say it looks pretty strong right now for risk assets. We're going to get these pullbacks and these scares and these, oh man, was that the top type of stuff. I think we're maybe not too far off from a top. But I think we still got some room to run. Okay. Useless coin. Yeah, we can look at it. Sounds pretty useless to me. Does it do anything? Okay, I was just making a bad joke. You guys can laugh at it, it's all right. What do you want me to do with this chart? Okay, daily time frame, bottom of the range. Maybe a nice flag. or something going on here. Yeah, I would say that looks like a bull flag. Looks good. Daily reset, daily clipping, nice divergence here. Yeah, this could probably do well. Nice reset, very nice. Absolute zenith, does that fill you in? So like, yeah, you know, you get a nice push off the bottom of your range here. You know, you might just ping pong until you end up breaking this trend line. But even if you were to take this trade right here, you know, that's a 71% move. That's a huge trade. Okay. And if you end up just rolling over here and, you know, doing something like this, where you get this pop and you come back down, maybe you make a double bottom. Okay. Now you're talking, right? A double bottom is, you know, something to really consider there for maybe a re-entry or something if you get rejected up there. Okay. Anything else you guys want to take a look at? There's tons of assets that I'll give you guys an idea. I just took a risk on AI Monica. I mean, as speculative as it gets. Okay, this is an AI meme coin, whatever. Look at the SOL ratio chart. That's all I have to say on something like this. The 3-day clipping against SOL down here on the ratio, a massive falling wedge pattern. It's a $1 million market cap, just super low risk. I mean, I don't know if this is going to pan out because like maybe this coin's dead or something, but you know, even just to go retest this is 100% move against SOL. Okay. And if SOL's going to like whatever, go up 40, 50% or something, I don't know. Yeah, we'll look at strats. Oof. Okay. Good one, Rash. Oh man, you are on life support here. You're legitimately life support. You're at the range low. Man, I hope this ends up being a descending triangle and it breaks up. Man, that'd be great to see. Yeah, you're pretty close to clipping on the 3-day here. I really hope that this holds this range low, man. 3-day RSI is also coming into oversold territory, so that's a good sign. It shouldn't really, I don't know, man. I mean, I say it shouldn't really go down anymore, but you know, all this coin's been doing is going down, unfortunately. They're trying to hold the bottom of the range. So descending triangle formation right now. Just off the data that I have, if you do break to the upside, is roughly a 300% move. That's what it would be. You know, your bubble risk indicator, no risk of being in a bubble. Yeah, I mean, your 3-day stochastics are very oversold. Again, probably if you were to be wanting to buy this asset, this is probably where you'd want to be buying it. Yeah, I mean, it technically broke on the weekly here on a candle body, but you could probably just pop back into that range real quick if we get some bullish price action in the market. Cool. Strat. All right, Flap IXHL. Healthcare stock. Okay, you know, starting to put in these lows from May, just kind of legging up here. It's interesting, actually. You got a clear resistance there. You broke this this channel capitulation, and then tried to rip back into it. You know, now you're holding back into the structure, so that's That's something good to see. You know, no real clear momentum signal here on the weekly time frame. Maybe your higher time frames look okay. Your 2 week here is in the upside momentum, you know, parabolic type area here. If this is ticked up like that, your 3 week here, you know, breaking out of the bullish control zone, that's good. Monthly, you know, yeah, also crossed up. Market went neutral. Okay, that's interesting. In terms of like candle closes here, yeah, as long as you stay within this structure, I think you have a shot at least testing back up to 150s. If you start taking out 150s, there's a lot of upside on this thing, for sure. Let's look at the RSI here. Okay, yeah, so you're no real squeeze on the weekly, right? You got some separation there. Like I said, there's no weekly momentum that is giving you a clue. Yeah, you might just consolidate here in this range, or you know, go sideways a bit. It looks like it's trying, like I said, it looks like it's trying to hold this channel that it's been in. It is making higher highs and higher lows. Well, it hasn't made a higher high. It's looking to make that higher high. So you got to break this 150 level, I would say. All right, but you can see that it's basing, making a major move, pull back, basing again, making a move, now making another higher low. There's obviously accumulation happening on this chart. You can see that also depicted by the volume that's coming in here. I would say from a longer term perspective, it looks good. You just want to continue making these higher highs, or higher lows rather, and eventually you want to see higher highs, right? Yeah, cool. Not a bad low capper. Oh yeah, well, you want to see this quarterly candle and take out 70 cents, man. You really want to see that. That's what you really want to see. Okay, but big volume spike here, very clear, the highest volume it's ever seen. I think we are going into altcoin season across the board, whether that be crypto, stocks, it doesn't matter, right? Like we took Fuel Cell, for example. This is a low cap stock. Just a very nice setup, right? The double bottom, the volume spike, you know, $255 million market cap, you know, broke this, you know, had this came all the way back down to the trend line here, but it came back down to the range low from 2019 and made a macro double bottom. And to me, like the monthly time frame here was really the dead giveaway. You know, you got this major momentum coming in right here. You know, got the monthly buy signal, major squeeze setup. This is one of the biggest squeezes I've ever seen on a low cap stock. I know this stock makes some big moves when it does move. I actually started Swing Trade Pros right around this region in 2018, 2019. This was one of the first stock calls I gave. And this thing just went on a run, man. This thing did like 100x off this trade call. I remember this before the stock splits. It was like something like 50 cents or like 80 cents or something. Okay. So yeah, crazy trade setup, I think, on this thing. I'm currently in a swing trade on it. I was a little bit late off these lows. I think my entry's in the 6s or something, but it's not going to matter longer term here. Like, look at the monthly RSI. You got tail end bullish divergence on the monthly RSI. Yeah, this is going to be a monster. I think a monster trade. Okay. Yeah, do your own research, of course, on these. But this looks like a big trade setup to me. Some other stock plays that I'm eyeing right now is C3 AI. I actually have an open option on this for December. I'm trading the $20 strikes on this. I went kind of later in the year. I wanted to give some time on this trade because I think you know, it's trying to maybe find its bottom. It hasn't, and the monthly here is still kind of ticked down. So I might just be dealing with some chop for a bit. But the weekly here is what I was really looking at. And the real reason why I took this trade is that I think that this is the low for this asset after this range deviation here. You know, big drawdown, you know, broke the range low, and then I think it's going to try to snap back into that range. And that's kind of why I took this trade. I think it's got So nice, even if the upside is back to the top of the range, you know, $42 on a $20 call option that expires in December. If this thing really just gets this momentum now, that option is going to be pretty lit. Okay. But yeah, you could also just, you know, maybe trade shares if you want to. I think they're both good. And the other thing was the weekly bullish divergence here on the RSI that I liked with the lower low on price. Okay. So technical reasons for the trade that I took here. You know, 3-day clipping, and you know, the daily, the 2-day, the 3-day, the weekly eventually clips, and then you get that momentum that comes in, and that's kind of why you want to capture that before that actually happens. And it's very possible also that, you know, this came up to the, you know, tag this region here, and you know, it might pull back. It might even come back down, test the range low again or something, make a double bottom here, and then just break it and then eventually go. And that's, you know, that's part of the trade here. That's why I you know, gave myself some time to be right on this trade. Okay. So maybe a trade recap here. We took the GameStop trade like the end of August. All right. I still think GameStop looks really good on the chart from the high time frame, but we took a range low setup here, 2260s. I ended up closing this trade last week. I had a $23 call option that, you know, I was looking for this gap fill on GameStop here, and it didn't quite fill the gap. But I ended up selling somewhere around this $27 level. I thought the 4-hour was getting a little overbought there, and I know this still has major legs in it, but you know, I was up 95% on an option trade. I think that's there's no need to be greedy. I just de-risked the trade there, and I was happy with that. Okay. But I think high time frame on GameStop, like if you own shares or something, I think that this is really set up for a major move. Like look at your monthly stochastics here about to cross up. Your 3-week here probably giving you that signal, right? So I think in the next, you know, 3 to 6 months here, this thing is going to be doing some stuff. Okay. We'll look at Kava, sure. Oof. Yeah, you have, man, I guess that this is a wedge pattern, and you're just retesting the range low right now. No real demand for this asset, man. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like there's much demand. You know, you got your weekly momentum here is in the oversold territory. So hopefully you hold this range low, right? The 3-day here, yeah, giving you an oversold signal as well. You know, this is where you probably would want to be buying. You know, not financial advice, of course. But yeah, you know, you're basically almost at the lowest risk area on the chart. You know, you hope that range low holds. If you're in something like this, you broke this range that you were holding for, well, quite some time. But yeah, your 3-day RSI is in the gutter. Like these are probably prime opportunities to buy stuff, you know, across the board. You know, if you get an asset that's doing this, there's, even if it doesn't just go on a major run and you get the move to, like, you know, the 58-cent region or something, you know, this is a low risk area to take a trade, right? Oh, what? You just set your stop loss, you know, below the stone range low, and you know, you're probably getting close to a 3-to-1 risk to reward on something like that, right? If you were to look at that. Like, let's just say we set our stop here at 24, and you took this trade here at 30, whatever, we're at 32, and you traded it up here. Yeah, you're getting almost 3 to 4 to 1 risk to reward. So that's worth it, right? That makes that trade worth it, worth taking the risk. Okay. You might want to wait for some sort of like hammer candle or like true reversal candle on a high time frame, instead of trying to, you know, time this bottom here or something. But you know, that 3-day RSI is like in the gutter. You know, but you do want to see some sort of buying interest there. You know, just kind of saying. DDD. What's that? Oh. Let's take a look, man. Nice. Okay, so you caught the range low. That's beautiful. You know, you would think that if you are going to get a nice bounce here, reaction rally off this low, which looks like you are getting some bids. You know, you got a move to about $5. If you break that, you're looking at hard resistance here at $8. If you start recapturing $8 on this thing, okay, you're looking at, you know, $40 a share eventually. Okay. I'm not saying it's going to do that necessarily, but you know, with enough momentum, which you have, I mean, wow, do you ever? The quarterly chart is literally in the gutter. Yeah, you can get a huge oscillation up on this. This might take some time, man. Maybe like a year, 2 years to play out or something. Like these oscillations here. This last oscillation was COVID low to July of 21. Okay, so that took over a year to play out on that oscillation. So there you go. That could take some time to play out, but man, this is actually a really good trade setup, Flap. Nice. Very nice. But yeah, you can see like maybe it's some sort of channel. Okay, and you know, you could just get up to the top of the channel, that's a 10x if you don't break it, right? So yeah, you just trade to the top, just trade what you see, just trade what the trend has been. Okay, but yeah, you got like what looks like to be maybe a falling wedge or something, or you know, a channel down here, but you got that momentum on your side. So no, you got major divergence here actually on the quarterly chart. Wow, yeah, this is nuts. That's going to be a very, 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 very good trade, sir. This is going to be added to my watch list. Nice. Good stuff, Flap. See, guys, these are the charts that I kind of want you guys to bring to the table and show me, all right? This is beautiful. This is a very low risk area on its chart. I don't really know what this stock does. It doesn't really matter. It's doing some trading volume. It's a $400 million market cap, which is low cap, right? This is kind of what we want to be targeting right now. Some low cap gems, some low cap assets for this, you know, alt run that we're going to see come in. All right. And so, man, this is beautiful. Like you haven't clipped yet on the quarterly, but you could clip here at the end of this month, right? Which is the quarterly close. So you get a 2-month clip, boom, you got a 2-month clip. So there you go. You know, you're going to get a quarterly clip and there's going to be some nice price action. And here's your 2-month with the, man, this is giving you 2-month stochastic RSI bullish divergence. You know, with a high probability that this is going to give you a major effing move. Okay. Like major, like, yeah, 10x type of thing. Okay. That is a, there's no guarantee it's going to do that, by the way. I'm just saying that it looks very, very strong to the upside. Okay. Yeah, we'll look at Avalanche. Sure. I think there's nothing wrong with the Avalanche chart. It's in a massive ascending, a massive bullish triangle here. It's on the brink of breakout. And yeah, you're looking at 650% measured move on a break. You know, that takes you probably close to that $200-300 level. You know, Fibonacci wise, it's right around $300 eventually. Okay. And yeah, 2-month bullish divergence on your stochastic RSI. Man, these charts look so effing good, man. Like they all look so good on a high time frame. Anyone that's bearish these markets on these high time frames like this really doesn't know what they're looking at. All right. So Avalanche looks amazing. Really. High time frame looks great. Really, really good. Really, really good stuff on the high time frame here. All right. I was looking at some low cap stuff like Graph or something. Look at this thing. You guys want a low cap meme coin or something? Check this thing out. Like, I mean, what? Range low. RSI in the gutter. Look at the 2-day RSI, man. I mean, this thing is going to just do some stupid stuff. You want some volatility? This gives you some nice volatility. Just pop 5x to the top of the range. What happens if you break the top of the range? Man, that's a big butterfly if it does that, man. Okay. Who knows? This is a meme, probably a meme coin or something, but low risk area for that type of asset right now. Yeah, that's about as good as it's going to get on a 2-day time frame. You can see the divergence there. I know some of you guys like to do high risk stuff, so this is a high risk play. But look, you're deep in the blue bubble zone. You're nowhere near bubble risk territory, right? That's beautiful. I think I showed you guys a chart of SHIB, man. I think that chart looks insane. High time frame, right? It's in a massive triangle. Yep, massive triangle. Still in it, still in the pattern. You know, as long as it remains in the pattern, there's nothing to really worry about if you're in this thing. It's just a waiting game. Yeah. Accumulation zones, right? Along the major bottom side of the triangle. You know, I mean, what could happen is you get maybe like some fake out dump or something that like happens here. Oh, and then just right back in like XRP did before it blew out. B2F, what's that? But anyways, Shiba Inu's structure is very much intact. Okay. This is a 4-year bullish pennant. Looks great. Hasn't done anything yet. But it doesn't need to do anything until looks like maybe November. Apex of the triangle. We got like another month to accumulate this thing. Okay. That's what it looks like. So you want a good entry on Shiba. It's pretty much where it goes. No, it'll break up, dude. And you know how I know that it'll break up? Look at the monthly. Does this look bad to you? This looks like it's just starting its momentum. Okay, this looks insane, actually. You asked about Hex. Yeah, I'm sitting in a Hex position personally. I think this is going to do some really stupid stuff too. This is a 4-year descending broadening wedge formation. This is not the right chart. Let me get you the right chart. Yeah, huge pattern. Okay, on Hex. And this pattern resolves to the top of the descending broadening formation. It is out of Bukowski's textbook. It is legitimately the same. You know what? I'll show you guys. All right. I'm not here to like, shill coins or whatever. I'm not like a paid shill. I just trade patterns and I just study them and study them and study them and study them. But if you sit here and tell me that this picture is not the same exact thing you see on this chart right now, then I don't know what to tell you, right? You have the run up before the dump. You have the run up before the dump. It's the same exact chart pattern. It's the same thing. Okay. Don't fade Hex. That's a 200x. It's not going to do the whole move right away, but the target is the top of the structure. It's the target. It's a swing target. And yeah, you look at the monthly on this chart, for example. You're clipping on the monthly. You got bullish divergence on the wave trend. Your momentum is ticked up on the monthly. You're in a massive squeeze. I mean, I don't know what else you guys want to see on something like this. Look at the RSI. It's just kind of rounding out down here around the neutral territory. Beautiful. Buy zone. Massive buy zone. Okay. It's been slow. It hasn't really done anything yet. Well, alt season really hasn't started yet either. We haven't really seen an alt run yet, right? So it makes sense that this hasn't done anything yet. So there's still a huge opportunity here. Not financial advice. I know there's tons of different assets you can buy or trade or whatever, but this chart pattern is so clear to me. And I actually called this last cycle down here when I saw this volume coming in. I remember it was in an ascending triangle at the time, and some dude came on my stream and asked me about it, and it ripped out. It did like 20x after it broke out, and then it went on to do a total of a 10,000x from 0 to 50 cents is what it ended up doing. And I was like, man, I don't really want to miss a trade like that again. What's Hex doing this cycle? Well, this is what it's doing right now. Not much this very moment in time, but I would say as soon as this thing starts to break, it's gonna be pretty explosive. Okay, so looks good. High time frame looks good. I'm gonna be accumulating as much as I can down here. That's kind of why I'm taking these meme coin trades, and maybe I can scalp some of that stuff and accumulate and go that route. So. But yeah, let's see what gives here with Tether, and what happens with this. These next couple days are pretty critical. But yeah, looks good. And we got a 4-hour short signal that's active. The 12-hour giving us the sell signal here. And we want to see this really come down, man. Is what we want to see. All right. But based on those high time frames, I think we're going to see some really good action in the coming months. So hopefully we get some good price action this week to close the quarterlies and the monthlies here. And we can go on our merry way to some nice upside in these markets. Yeah, so I don't think we're really out of the clear just yet on Tether, but these next couple days we really want to see some bullish action. Like I said, so just keep your eyes peeled for that. I think that we're on the cusp of either a major rally or a major breakdown capitulation event. And if we get another capitulation event, it's probably going to be a big buying opportunity because of those high time frames. Okay. That's my honest opinion here. Yeah, the Tether chart still looks bullish to me, unfortunately, on these like weeklies and 2 weeks, and even like the 3-week time frame is crossing up. So we could incur some turbulence along the way here. But a lot of these assets look like they're bottomed out. So I don't really know. I don't really know how this can play out. But we'll keep our eye on it and monitor it, and just try to trade like 2 and 3 day time frames if you're trading, actively trading. If you're swing trading, you want to use like weeklies and monthlies and the quarterlies, and just park the money in an asset that you think has long-term upside, and just kind of let it sit, type of thing. Okay. We'll look at NASDAQ. Yeah, sure. Tether needs to get rejected and break this support is what it really needs to do right here. This is a critical spot for it to do that. So yeah. So S&P is up a bit. It does look a bit extended here on the 3-day time frame. We're still in this, like, I guess it's channel. Let's kind of look at this. It might just be a massive rising wedge too. That's the other scary thing about this chart. Okay, yeah, we might still have some room to this next fib extension. Looks like we're pinning off this fib here. Yeah, I'd watch the top side of this trend line, okay, when we interact with it again, which would probably be somewhere up here around 6,800 level, this Fibonacci level here. I have these kind of marked off on the chart. We're using 6,600 as support right now, which is good. The weekly time frame, we had a bit of a pullback last week. Yeah, we're not clipping just yet, but we're close to clipping on the weekly. Something to pay attention to. Oof, yeah, we do have a bit of divergence here on the weekly momentum. Okay. No cross down yet, but man, you got the cross down and momentum's coming down. We could just end up doing something like this where we come back down and bounce off, you know, the 80 level again, and that propels us higher. And the reason why I say that that can happen is because if you look at, like, you know, quarterly time frames here, we still got some room on the quarterly. We've just entered into overbought territory on the quarterly, which means that we're in parabolic mode here on the S&P 500, and we haven't like topped out on our momentum. We can actually run all the way to the 100 level on the quarterly time frame. All right. So we're going to see what this prints here in the next couple days too. All right. It's still got some room here on the bands too to get up there, top of the band. So I think we got some room to run still a bit. Okay. On the quarterly time frame here. Gold's on a run, and there's no stopping gold right now. This thing is just parabolic. It broke a massive rising wedge structure. Beautiful, beautiful chart. Yeah, no wicks at all. This is just up only here for gold. Wow, what a run gold is on right now, man. Okay, you know, quarterly RSI at 86. This is entering heat territory. And like, you're at RSI levels from 1979, dude. Holy shit. Okay. Wow. I don't know about 10K, but like 4K, probably your next real target here before you get probably some sort of pullback. I mean, this thing is just in a breakout. But yeah, it's parabolic right now for sure. Gold. Platinum is something that you guys should really consider. Okay. This has got some room to run. All right. Will ETH BTC drop any lower? That's a good question. I think if Bitcoin really finds its footing, it's possible that money floods back into Bitcoin first before we get another rotation into ETH here in the short term. But we can look at Bitcoin dominance and kind of get that kind of clue what's happening there. I think overall, you know, this is it's trying to pin right here on the monthly, and then, you know, the quarterly candle here, big bearish engulfing candle right now. This to me means that the ETH Bitcoin should take the reins here in the next 3 months, next 3 to 6 months. And this to me has, you know, downside all the way down to like 43% eventually, right? The bottom of that triangle, you know, make this somewhere, make a higher low along this trend line. And that's probably going to be the end of the bull market. Okay. So, and the reason why I think that is, well, look at the quarterly stochastics. They're all pointing down. The monthly is already, okay. It's already actually becoming close to oversold, but your RSI, okay, is what you really want to be paying attention to here. It is a monthly rising wedge on the RSI, and we're going to get some sort of confirmation or clue here in the next couple of days when this monthly and quarterly candle close. We haven't broke the structure yet, so what could happen is this may actually bounce here, okay, and maybe go back up a bit to like you know, whatever, this retest the real bullish control zone. Technically it's still bullish, like 52 on the RSI. So yeah, there could be rotation back into Bitcoin before it actually really breaks down, and so that's something to pay attention to. But high time frame is suggesting that Bitcoin dominance is, so how low price do you think it will hit? Like the price of Bitcoin or the Bitcoin dominance? Well, if this level isn't going to hold for Bitcoin, which looks like it's going to, by the way, well, I would say that we'll see what kind of reaction we get off this range low. We're getting a nice reaction right now. Okay. We just reclaimed, you know, 111.6. We need to start making closures above 113s to take out this bearish engulfing candle right here. And then we got room up to 118K. All right. And then you have a real double bottom, and then your double bottom is suggesting if you break this neckline and you start making closures above 118, you got about an 8.76% move, and that's taking you to new all-time highs roughly. Okay, about 130K, a little bit, maybe a little bit higher. Okay, yeah, 128K off that double bottom is what that suggests on that double bottom. All right, and you got your trend line here that you want to break. Okay. Bitcoin looks decent, right? Double bottoming here with a nice bullish engulfing candle today to close. And we got some nice wickage here on the weekly here coming in. Yeah. Nice, pretty much giving you a daily buy signal right now. Okay, so looking good. Looking good. Bitcoin. That's pretty much all I got, guys. Hopefully you guys like the analysis here, and trade safe, trade smart, find some nice opportunities. Falling wedge patterns with that 3-day RSI divergent, like this Grift coin, for example. Okay, I took a trade on it, and I'll show you why I took a trade on it. All right, yes, it made a lower low on price. Okay. Yes, it's in a downtrend. Yes, it's in a down sloping channel. And yes, maybe I should have waited for it to break the channel. Okay, fine. But the reason why I took the trade is this right here. The 3-day RSI bullish divergence, right? Lower low on price, higher low on the relative strength index. This to me is very clear that this has momentum now to really swing through this pattern. Okay. That is very clear to me. I should say it's a very high probability that it's going to do that if we're going to see upside in the market, which to me, this is suggesting that. And the 3-day stochastic RSI is at the floor, right? In the buy zone, right? So, okay, we have it clipped here on the wave trend, but we're probably going to, if we have that bullish divergence, the 2-day, I think, clipped, or maybe it didn't, I don't know. Yeah, the 2-day clipped on regular candles here. Okay. So this to me looks very good. Very, very good. Like this is going to be probably a nice break right to 0.007. This region right here, that's 182% move. Okay. And it's probably not done going up after it does that. It's probably going to do that move and then pull back or something. And then, maybe do something like that. Okay. Later on. Because all that momentum is not going to be exhausted on that one move. It could, but either way, it's a great risk to reward trade, right? If you can 3x your money off a breakout trade like that, what do you want? I mean, that's amazing. Oh yeah, of course you want this thing to go all the way back up to the top, right? Yeah, great. That's an 80x. So maybe it does that longer term. I don't know, but I don't know that. Maybe I just trade this until that 3-day momentum is topped out, right? Or this 3-day RSI is topped out. But you can clearly see a trend line here on your RSI. If this ends up breaking that trend line, you know that it's going into another wave, a massive wave up, right? And so that's what I'm going to be also paying attention to. If I want to hold this thing, do I want to just sell this thing, or what am I doing with it, right? And then you got your massive 3-day squeeze here, 2-day, 3-day squeeze here. You're deep in the bubble, the blue buy zone area here on your short-term bubble risk. This asset's not in a bubble. Okay, it is wrecked. I think it's like a $2 or $3 million market cap AI coin or something. Okay, but like this is how you can extract max value on some assets like this. Okay, yeah, it's a $3 million market cap, man. So like any sort of buying pressure that comes into this thing is going to send it like hard. Send it. Okay. And there's plenty of these. There's plenty of trade setups like this. Okay. So I rest my case. I've been live for an hour. We got 8 people on the stream tonight. Make sure you guys smash the like button up if you like the content. Take the subscribe button and the notification bell if you're new to the channel. I appreciate all you guys tuning in. And we'll catch you guys next week. Hopefully, we have a wonderful week here. I feel like we're going to have some nice price action this week for those monthly and quarterly candle closes to set up the rest of this year. Okay. Appreciate all you guys tuning in.